Now, with holiday prices up from last year, how do you keep the family happy, Maura, and save a few bob as well and keeping the costs down?
Well, we have the man to advise us on this, travel commentator and journalist Eoghan Corry is with us. First time, Eoghan, I know we've been touting to get you on here for many, many months, but you're too busy running around the world.
Too busy running around the world, but I did stop by. I fell out of the sky just
You did, yeah.
into the south channel of the River Lee here.
Well, you know what? You've travelled so much, Eoghan, that, you know, there's a lot of tips that you can kind of pick up along the way, I suppose, the more you travel. But I suppose the one thing is avoid paying too much.
Yeah, it's always, there's always a way of avoiding paying the big price that people get thrown at them. There's different, you look at it laterally, you look at it sideways. I mean, family holidays, they basically work until the third child arrives. Drug dealers, people traffickers and people with more than 2 children, they're the real enemies of aviation and the holiday industry. Yeah. But there are ways around it,
There are lots of people, I suppose, head off to Spain or to the Canaries. Where are the other places that are good for families on?
Realistically, almost everything that emanates in Ireland goes back to the Iberian Peninsula, Spain, Portugal, 70% of our market. The difference with family and what has happened with the advent of low-cost aviation and people making their own bookings and going onto internet intermediaries is that it's all very well, it works for one person or two person, but when you start getting the small lads and small girls into the equation, the systems aren't really built for that. So what we've seen is a good resilience around what we used to do long ago, the package holiday. They're good at it. They know how families work. They know that sometimes there's more than 2 children. They know the requirements of littlies, my primary school age, and then the teenagers can be different. And they're good at managing all of that. A lot of the stuff that shows up in the package holiday market will not show up on an internet search. For those of us who have got used to finding everything on the first page of our internet search, sometimes you have to delve a little bit deeper for the family holiday.
It's interesting. I've seen people a lot go back to travel agents who can tailor it for you and do that. I love self-catering. I know you're a fan of it yourself, and you can save a lot of money. And I think for small children especially, you want to be able to open the fridge, give them something to eat when they want it.
The downside is mammy is still mammy.
Well, I know that always happens.
No matter where you are. Way back, they used to come up at conferences that I spend too much of my time going to, that the Irish love of self-catering was about 80% of the market went for self-catering, 20% went for hotels. People coming over from England say it's the other way around, 80% hotels, 20% self-catering. We do have a national predilection for it. We love it. We love the control. We love the fact that you're not waiting for someone to come around to your table, or that the orange juice is in the wrong side of the room and you've got children to manage. So we do have this great predilection, to the extent that travel companies dealing specifically in Ireland will have a very good portfolio of self-catering. There are 3 major tour operators, and I will name them. There are other travel agents and smaller tour operators, but the people who really do package holidays out of Ireland are the international company TUI, Sunway, Top Flight. They are good at the Irish market, and all the travel agents will sell them. You don't actually go to one individual shop.
It's good to know that. So where you walk into any travel, they will have that catalogue of...
That's why travel agents are still here. I mean, 20 years we've been saying travel agents, what are they doing? The family holidays is one of the major reasons they're here. Anything complicated is also why they're here. Anything expensive like honeymoons, cruises, that's why they're here. But they're very good at reading a family, reading children's ages.
And to be fair, it's all about the children, really, isn't it, when it comes to holidays? Because if you don't have things to do for the children, they get bored very fast.
Hell hath no fury like a child who's in the wrong location in the wrong time of the year.
But would the packages then be kind of geared towards that?
Very much. A lot of the resorts that would deal specifically with families, they stay out of other ends of the business. They've got water slides. You've got effectively, like most Spanish, Greek, Italian, Portuguese towns have good water parks, but a lot of the bigger resorts will have water parks. And something I'm a huge fan of myself, camping, and camping doesn't mean the leaky tent on the side of the Kerry Mountain. Camping is generally self-catering in a mobile home, and some of those water parks would be as good as something you pay money in. They come collect your children every day for kids clubs, water slides, all of that stuff. Some of them have also very exotic and interesting accommodation. I've stayed in a tree house in a camping village in France. And the other great control over travelling to camp in France is travelling by ferry.
Yeah.
You've got to remember, since Brexit, our direct services to France and also to Spain, because we've direct services to Spain as well, have grown and multiplied. Vendée, about 5 hours drive from the ferry ports, which are Cherbourg and Roscoff, and Brittany, which is very close by. Vendée actually gets more sun than some of the places further south, like Biarritz.
Oh, yeah.
Recommend it highly. It's what I did with my own children when they were younger.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, but I love a ferry. And I was saying to the guys here, like, I hadn't been on the ferry in years, and then I just went on this ferry going over to the UK, or one of the ferries.
Only last year, Maura,
yeah, only last year.
Yeah.
Or Maura spent her childhood on the Navy now.
We were discussing them outside. I didn't throw up on this one. That was the difference. I threw up every single time. Seriously.
Yeah.
Blech.
Did you bring the car with you though?
Well, we did, and that's another great thing, that you're very kind of resilient because you have all your own bits and pieces. And I only went to Wales. But you know what I'm wondering about?
17 hours, and you wake up, or you sleep through the night, you wake up, you're ready for the drive. I've done huge drives. I've done all the way to the south of France, sometimes overnighting. We'd always stop close to the Vendée. We'd always stop in Mont Saint Michel. It became a family ritual. That's a big
See, I think that sounds good. But
Nice,
what about what are your tips when you're getting on the ferry and you're getting a cabin, or how do you work all this out? Because it's a mystery to me, because I haven't done I did the years ago, the little Arv one on a school trip when I was a kid, but not as a family.
They're quite luxurious. There you get views. You get it's all about how many children you have. The bedding generally comes in, but it's not going to be huge amounts of space, because that's the nature of being on a ship. Yeah. But the luxury that's available compared with people who remember, do you remember the Normandy, the poor old girl that Irish ferries had for years until the early noughties? Anyone who remembers that, put it out of your head. The
I think I was on that one.
And I was on the 30-hour Brittany ferry sailing to Bilbao last year. And
Lovely.
Absolute joy.
Was it?
Yeah.
It slows you down, by the way, because you get on all frenetic.
It's kind of good for you then.
Yeah, I like that.
Who's chasing me on the phone, and it takes a little while to pace it down, and it's very good for your whole mood.
Oh, and
so
we've 30 seconds left. We want the people watching the show to save a few bob if they're booking a family. Have you tips?
Most importantly, if you don't have exam students, June is the secret. Everybody else is still in school in June. Irish people get away with their children in June, and go to places that the Brits go, and the British and the Germans go in bigger numbers. June is a great tip. Also, second half of August, oddly enough, most of the major markets are going home from about August the 15th. You will get good bargains right up to the end.
Sounds great.
Very interesting.
Oh, Gurmila, we'll be on ferries. It will not be the Navy or the Galway Bay. Back in my childhood days, I never want to revisit those again. I have to say, there is nostalgia, but there's also puking, so I don't want to go there.
Oh, Maura.
It's
Maura,
true though.
Maura.
Oh,
On Tanya Vac Bay.
yeah, bucket in Tanif. Gurmila, it's great to be